I just want people to see Jesus in me and through me. And I hope that I have been and can be an example of what it means to trust God in the unknown when you're at your lowest and yet you still praise him anyway. One of the songs that I picked for his funeral was called Still I Will Praise You by Sisters. Incredible, powerful song. But
that was a good one.
Yeah. But it's like my pastor says, when the time that you...
That one and Scars in Heaven.
Yeah, that was a good one. Like my pastor always says, when you don't feel like praising him, that's when you need to praise him the most.
Welcome to Two Girls from T-Ville, a small town podcast. And now, your hosts, Stephanie and Amanda.
Welcome back, guys. You are listening to Two Girls from T-Ville, a small town podcast. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Amanda.
And like I said, welcome back. How y'all been doing? Y'all been doing good?
Yeah.
Y'all been doing good?
We want to know. We ain't heard from y'all. We need some feedback, y'all.
We need some feedback.
We're running out of ideas.
Running out of ideas, y'all. Okay, you need to give us some feedback. Oh, how about this one? Let's throw out something we want to hear feedback on. Here's something I've been curious about. I want to know what the weirdest thing you've ever seen in church is. Hit us up. Hit us up. I want to know what's the weirdest thing you've seen in church. It doesn't have to be in an Alexander County church either. Weirdest thing you've seen in church. I want to know what it is. It can be anonymous. You don't have to name the church. Throw it out there. I want to know. I want to know. Put it in our public feedback form. It's in our links. Okay, that's how you can find it. So
go do it.
Go do it. Do it, please. I want to hear. Okay, long story short, I went in a church one time where a mysterious white bag emerged. And
I don't even know it, and I'm laughing already.
Yeah, I have to be careful because the person, could hear this and know, so I'm not going to ever tell that story. I'm sorry, but you just need to know it involved a mysterious white bag that emerged from the front of the church, and everybody kept going, blah, 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 and I said, okay, I'm out. I'm going to the bathroom. I don't know what happened after that, but I went to the bathroom and didn't come out.
Oh.
So yeah, I want to hear stories like that. It doesn't have to be snake handling stuff. It can be straight up. It can be straight up. I've seen a guy at the Taylorsville Baptist Camp meeting swing from the rafters.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube. Look it up. Went on fire. Taylorsville Baptist Camp meeting. Yeah. Okay.
He was feeling it.
He was feeling it, man.
He was feeling it.
And I always thought, what if he didn't make it?
Oh,
what if? Like what? No, for real. Like, what if he would have jumped and missed? How awkward would that have been?
Or like the guy that jumped in the baptistry. What if he missed?
Oh, dude.
Whew,
yes, I've seen that dude. Man, they were like doing the cartwheels and rolling. Hey, now. I'm sorry. Y'all, okay. We're starting this podcast off really stupid because it's going to get really heavy.
Yeah.
It's going to get heavy, okay? But we're starting off really stupid. We're just clearing the air, okay? But yeah, seriously, what's the weirdest thing you've ever seen in church? What's the weirdest thing someone's ever said in church? I don't care how dumb it is. I want to hear it. Put it in that public feedback form. Okay, so me and Amanda now. Whew, I know, that was good. That was good. I know.
By the way, the video that you made from our trip to ChosenCon, that ending with us doing our reenactments, gold. Gold. That's us all the time, y'all.
Yeah, it really is. And I loved like the dumb clips I forgot that I took, like we're going clubbing. It says like the club lounge, like in the airport.
Or at least we get to see the fountain.
Yeah, or something dumb like that. Or talking about the lame light show. Like I forgot I did little clips like that because we were just trying to be so immersed in the event that we didn't make a lot of dumb content.
No.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, there was so much more. I had over 3 hours of video.
Wow.
Yeah, on my little phone. I'm like, dude, So, and I had to cut it down. I cut it down to like a little less than 2.5 hours because I put every clip I ever took there. But some of them I cut down because the conversation wasn't really developing anywhere like super like awesome, revelation.
Yeah.
So I would cut some of those. So I was able to cut it down an hour, but I think we got a lot of it there.
I still think about that trip like every day. Like,
Yes.
So much that we got out of it, and just so much fun too.
Yeah, I can't stop listening. I know.
Love it. We gotta go do something else.
We gotta do something else.
We gotta go travel, girl.
So I can't stop listening to Phil Wickham now.
I know the hometown versions he does. It's like easy listening, but it's just that one that I sent you. The whole album is Hometown.
It's good,
girl. I cannot get enough.
And see, Phil Wickham and like Chris Tomlin and people like that I hear them on the radio. I'm just kind of like, okay, they're repetitive. Okay, whatever. Like I didn't hate them, but I wasn't jumping at the chance. Like, you want to go see Phil Wickham? I'm not like, yeah. No, I'm just like, okay, whatever. But yeah. Like I know Phil Wickham was not somebody I'd cut off my leg to go see before. but I'm telling you, I was so wrong about him.
I know.
I really like him.
Me too. He knows who he's singing about, and
it's not even really flashy or anything. Look at those videos. Like there's no Windows Media Player bullcrap going on.
Like at the pool.
Like at the pool. There's none of that going on. There's no like laser lights. There's no like epic stuff going on. It's just him singing about Jesus. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, but it was enough. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that's not enough, but like I never noticed. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? In comparison to other concerts I've been to, and I've been to big like name concerts, but like I didn't even notice because he was so into it. I was into it. I was just as into the worship as he was.
Yeah. So
I was like, okay, so yeah, I know Phil Wickham ain't listening to this because he has a life. But if someone, hey, there's connections. Somebody knows him. Tell him I'm sorry.
Somebody. I mean, hey, I got connections to Thaddeus, so
yes,
which was so cool.
We got to talk about our shout out. So y'all, long story short, we got a shout out from Thaddeus Pratt, which if you don't know who that is a guy on TikTok that is in the funeral industry, and he makes funeral related content, and he is cool. Like,
he's really caring too about how he comes across when he, explains things for families. Like after Stephen passed, like I listened to a lot of his stuff because I'm like, okay, I just want to know the process. I just,
Yeah, and that's, I wish I could be one of them people that like, one of those people like this exists. But no, I wish they would create a job like position somewhere that is like I don't know, like a funeral tour. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you, when I worked in funeral service, when I managed a funeral home, I was not all the way comfortable with everything. And I learned over the years so much that it made me so much more comfortable with the idea. I mean, by all means, I'm not hopping on a ticket out of here the first chance I get, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it made me feel a lot more at peace than it did make me feel fearful. Yeah. And I think I like people that do content about things that are like taboo topics like that.
Yes.
And I appreciate it when they do good content, and he does good content. So shout out back to Thaddeus Pratt. Yeah. You're the real MVP. So, okay, quick. Now that we're all out of that stupid segue, let's go into,
I think you need to share about your journey to Little House on the Prairie. They need to hear this.
Okay, y'all.
And I need more details, so let's get to it.
Buckle up.
Buckle up.
Buckle up.
In my Siri voice, buckle up.
Buckle up. Yeah, so Little House on the Prairie, man. I so underestimated that show. So,
I still haven't watched it. You got to
dude.
fill me in. Are you going to get me hooked on it like The Chosen?
Yes, you just better look out.
We'll go to the Little House on the Prairie convention next.
Dude, I would go. So,
Ride your wagon.
I know, ride your wagon. That covered wagon.
To the Red Lobster. I had to. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead. I'll stop.
To that Red Lobster. So, that lobster. I love the way you did it in that episode. You were like,
Red Lobster. Like the Red Lobster. Okay, I'll stop.
Okay. It's hard. It's hard. But no. Oh, okay. So, my journey to Little House. So, okay, bear with me. So, me and my husband, I'm just going to start off by, and you guys should know by now, we're 9 episodes in at this point. Is this the 9th episode? It's either the 9th or the 10th episode right now. So, anyway,
committed.
I'm committed, yeah. Yeah.
Don't replace The Chosen.
Don't replace The Chosen. Yeah, we don't want to get too big for our britches. Oh, speaking of, I saw a shirt on Shein yesterday that said "Small Town Famous."
And
I was like,
right before we got on, I was sitting here adding to my Shein cart, and I've already got like $200. I've got to stop it.
Same.
But I've got so much in there.
Man, Shein is starting to realize their worth, and I'm not having it.
No, because they're starting to go up on their prices, and I'm like,
no, Shein. If I can go to Walmart now, Shein better get it together. You better get more of them kids. No, I'm kidding. No.
Oh.
No. Surely they don't. You know, like, do they really? Is it really a child? Like, I've heard the rumor, but is it really? I don't know.
I have no evidence either way, so
I have no evidence.
Speculate.
Yep, y'all listening to this, y'all shut up. Y'all buy from Shein too. And
Speaking of Shein, now I don't keep up with like the name brand. I just know that apparently the red bottom high heels are like high dollar. They have some knockoffs that look the same for $23. I'm gonna try me a pair.
Ooh, girl, wear them to church.
She got them red bottoms. I don't know what.
Got them red bottoms. What are they called?
Louboutins? Is that it?
Yes.
Louboutin? Something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Louboutin.
I don't keep up with that, but they pretty.
Girl, I
buy the knockoffs.
Girl, I buy Blowfish and Kids.
Yep.
I buy them Kids.
Hey, the Bruno Marks. You can get Bruno Marks. They're just like Hey Dudes. Half the price. On Amazon.
That's what I'm talking about.
We need to get like a little kickback for that. Anyway, back to Little House on the Prairie. Squirrel! Like my Facebook post tonight is so accurate. If I had $1 for every time I got distracted, I wish I had some ice cream.
Yep. Okay, so anyway, you guys know, and this is where I was the Prairie. So this is where I was getting to right before we went on that rabbit trail. We chased that rabbit hard, man. But that Shein rabbit. Yes. Well, no. So to put it bluntly, you guys know I'm pretty blunt. I just say things how it is. Me and my husband, sometimes we just look at each other and we're like, how did we meet each other and get married? because not in a bad way, because we don't we don't have anything in common at all. We are Caucasian Christians. That's about the only thing we have in common with each other. I'm not joking. We have no similar interests whatsoever. So when we get a common interest, it's a big deal. There was at one point right after we first got married, we were just like, hey, you want to watch Roots? So we did. I know that's random. That's the most random thing ever. But me and him got really into watching Roots. Like, we got the DVDs, like not the newer Roots, the older Roots, 70s. Man, with LeVar Burton in it, the Reading Rainbow dude.
Reading
oh my
Rainbow.
gosh. Yes, man. Love LeVar Burton. But yes, we got really into that. And then years later, we decided to get a little bougie, and we got Paramount Plus. And we got really into watching 1883. Now I will say, I do not necessarily support that as a program now, because that is the worst, most filthy cussing I've ever heard in a program in my whole life. Ugh. Like, that to me completely killed it. Ugh. Like if I had VidAngel, the whole series would be 4 minutes long.
Golly.
But I'm telling, the historical content of it was neat, but it was difficult to get through the cussing.
It's disappointing when they do that, because they can ruin something so good.
And they kind of did, but I'm telling you, it would have been, it had Sam Elliott in it, man. It had Faith Hill in it, man. It had it. Oh. It was extremely entertaining and really opened your eyes up to what it was like on the prairie. Mm-hmm. Like, whenever, they were saying, hey, all this free land out here and everything, and how difficult that was. Mm-hmm. It was like real life stuff. It was heavy. Mm-hmm. I'm talking like smallpox, all kinds of stuff. It was heavy, like historical content, but the cussing ruined it. But anyway, we managed to get through it, and we got through that. But we did enjoy it as far as like the Western aspect of it, because it wasn't like Bonanza Western. Like, it was hardcore. Like, he loves Bonanza. I can't get into that. But
Stephen really liked Bonanza and the old ones. I just couldn't get into them.
I couldn't get into them. But now, Brian told me a few weeks back, he said, I think you like Little House on the Prairie. And I said, man, is it anything like the Waltons? Because the Waltons was a snore fest to me. The Waltons, I was like, man, as soon as the Waltons come on, I knew it was time for me to take a nap or something. That same thing when Wings came on. I hated that show too, man. Wings. But I like Cheers, ironically. But that was a good show. But no, like, and so I likened Little House on the Prairie to the Waltons, because I had been exposed to the Waltons before Little House, and I was like, there's no way I'm watching Little House. That is probably 10 times more boring than this. Oh, quite the contrary. So we didn't want to pay. So, well, long story short, Brian said, I think you would really like that. And he said, if you liked 1883 and you liked Roots, he said, I think you would like Little House on the Prairie. Give it a chance. And I was like, no, man. Well, then TikTok happened. And you know how TikTok sometimes, like, people post clips of old shows, and it's always the best, most dramatic clips ever. Well, and the comments are the best ever. They just make you laugh. Well, there's a lot of Little House on the Prairie content on TikTok, believe it or not. And I went down a rabbit trail, and I was like, okay, I've got to watch this. So we didn't want to pay. We couldn't find it on a streaming service we already had, and we didn't want to buy, like, wasn't free on YouTube or anything. So we didn't want to pay for a streaming service just to watch one old show. So we ended up finding it at Walmart, like all 9 seasons on DVD. We went old school. So whenever we get a chance at night, we go upstairs, because I have like a piano room in a loft area upstairs, and I've got a TV and a sectional up there. It's bougie. I love that space. I love that space. Brian has the basement. Yeah, Brian has this basement, and I have the loft upstairs, and my space is bougie. I love it.
I need a bougie space.
You need a bougie space. I
need a bougie space for myself.
Yes. Like, I'm thinking like it's one of them spaces I have carefully curated it over an 8-year period.
Wow.
And it's finally accomplished. It's exactly how I pictured it in my brain all these years ago. And I feel like it needs its own TikTok moment with a Sabrina Carpenter song playing.
There you go.
Yeah, it needs its moment. But I'm proud of that little room. And I didn't really sink a ton of money into it either. Like,
that's even better.
Yeah, it's IKEA shelves, all of it. You know, I got an old antique china cabinet up there, got real cheap, stuff like that. Well, we got a big TV up there recently, like earlier, like this summer. And we finally, you know, got the money and we just bought a big old TV, put it up there. It's huge. And we put the DVD player up there. So now, every now and again, we're getting a chance to go up there and we watch 2 episodes at a time because we get so into it. And y'all, I'm going to get close to the microphone here. Y'all listening?
Y'all listen real good to the Red Lobster. Sorry. Squirrel.
I greatly underestimated the power of Michael Landon. And man, that's a good show. That is a good show. The episode we watched last night, before we went to bed, was one where Laura, which is the little girl with the braids that always has kind of the buck teeth. she's cute as crap, man. But she does. And well, she's going to the one room schoolhouse with all the other kids and the Walnut Grove area. And there's a new boy that starts at school. And this girl's probably like 7 years old. And this dude looks like he's about 28. And I'm like, okay, well, she's got a crush on him. And well, it turns out that boy, he don't like her. He likes her sister Mary.
Usually how it goes.
Yep, and boy, Laura gets tore up, and about it like bad tore up, man. And then it all came to a head with the drama. Whenever he said, "Oh, let's go to the love tree." Like that sounds weird. I know it sounds weird. It's like where you carve like names in the tree, like with a heart and stuff. And he said after school, he leaned over to her and said, "Meet me under that tree." And she's like, "Oh, he's going to confess his love for me, a 7-year-old. You know, I don't know what she was thinking. He's like 15 in the show. But little kids, they get their little crushes and their first little crush on somebody older like that. And they're like, okay, whatever. And she meets him under the tree and he's like, "I'm going to show you something." And she's like, "Oh, let me see." I think his name's something John Johnson or something like that. She says, "Oh, let me see, John Johnson, whatever did you write?" And it says JJ and MI, her sister's initials. And she goes, "I know." And she goes, just runs away. She runs all the way home. I grab and cries, goes running to her daddy. goes running to Charles Ingalls and runs. Oh man, she grabs his neck and goes, "Daddy!" Oh, it was terrible. I looked at Brian. I grabbed my chest, just like
clutched her pearls.
I did, just like Fred Sanford. "I'm coming, Elizabeth." That did me in. That did me in. I almost wept bitterly. Stephanie wept.
Say that.
I could feel that moment. I was like, unrequited love. And I got secondhand humiliation through the screen.
Reliving our childhood.
Oh, it was bad. And you know what? I can't get over it. I thought about that all day. I'm in my data manager's meeting at central office thinking about how bad that was. My poor Laura, man.
That would stink.
Oh, it was
really stink.
The episode was so intense. I could not believe the heavy drama. And I'm sitting here thinking, and then at the end of it, I looked at Brian and I said, "I don't know. If a dude broke my heart like that, I'd be running to my daddy too if he looked like that." We were laughing. we were laughing our hell about it. It was terrible. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
It was a terrible thing. But yeah, I felt that in my soul.
So you Oh man.
Yes.
So your gently used DVDs from Walmart work. Your Blockbuster special.
They do. Y'all, someone returned the box set of DVDs. They returned them. They weren't gently used. Like they
been
look
through
like
the red box.
they look like they've been used as frisbees for their dog.
Yes.
And when I put one in, I said, "Dear Lord Jesus," I said, "I pray that she work." I said, "Or someone at Walmart's about to have a bad day."
Oh gosh.
But no, they worked, and I'm like, okay, I feel better now. They work. Yeah, someone enjoyed those DVDs of Little House for like 10 solid years.
They're very loved.
They're very loved. I can see why. That's a good show. Man. I said that. Oh, man. I said. Oh, and then there was another episode a few nights before we watched where all the wheat died in a hailstorm. And Charles, he said, crap. He said, I got to go somewhere else to work. He said, it's plumb 50 miles in the next town where I can find work. And he ends up finding work in a mine. And one of the guys that's working as a powder monkey, it's his friend, he gets blown up right in front of him. I mean, like we were watching, me and Brian just totally unsuspecting. They're like, hey, what you doing up there? Hey, guys, I'm coming down. Boom! And he just like explodes. Like no warning. Like there's no warning. There's no like climactic music leading up to anything happening. There's no like suspicion. It's just boom, he explodes. And like it was something. I said, oh my gosh! Like, I mean, yeah, I'm having those kinds of reactions, and it's so funny because the show came out in 1974, and here I am like freaking out now. I'm in love with the show.
40 years later.
I know.
What? No? Is it? Yeah.
Is it?
Wait. My math ain't mathing. I think, is it 50? 50 years.
50 years, man.
50 years. Lord,
50
I'm so
years.
behind. I still think the 90s were like 10 years ago.
I know. As someone said, oh man, they were talking. So all these people, so I'm in a Facebook group that I hardly ever check. It's one of them high school groups, you know, and every few years, someone is whining on there about how we're not having a high school reunion. It's been 17
Who wants to do
years.
that? Who wants to do that?
I know, and I'm like, you losers want to do that? Who wants to do that?
No.
I don't care if they hear that. Well, isn't it? I don't care if they hear it either. I'm like, I want to see y'all. But my thing is this. And people are like, ooh, I went to Iredell County School. But I'm just sitting here thinking like, hey, I ain't throwing ACHS under the bus. But I'm just like, I'm not even near at a point ready to see y'all. I don't even want to see y'all in this Facebook group.
Much less at Walmart.
Yeah.
It's such a small town. You already see them all the time at Walmart. So
I know.
There you go.
Last time I seen one of my high school classmates, like officially, I seen them when did I see them? I was going to say in prison, but no, that was a kindergarten friend. Oh. That's a whole story. My best friend in kindergarten, he made what we call in public school red choices. Oh. And he ended up in max security prison. I recognized him in the hallway when I was working there one day.
Oh, he clipped down.
Mm-hmm. He clipped down.
He clipped down.
He did. He went down. But yeah, I'm like, I don't want to see y'all right now. I'm not ready for that. But no, it's funny though, because they keep whining about it every so many years because the class president has failed to produce a 10-year reunion, and they're probably going to fail to produce a 20-year. And isn't that something like the class president is responsible for organizing? And I think that's what the beef is about. And they're like, forget it. We're just going to go meet at Taco Bell or something. And I'm just like rolling. And me and the one friend I do have a lot of contact with outside of high school, I sent her a screenshot. I said, "Look at this mess," and we're just laughing about it. I know. I mean, I can't hate on people that are into going. That's great, but that's just not my experience. Yeah. And I just think it's humorous that they're whining about it when I'm like, how about you message the class president? Yeah. Instead of just getting on here and whining about it, how about you say, hey, you planning on actually doing what we voted you to do? You know, I don't know. Okay.
I'd be like, y'all didn't want to see me or talk to me in high school. Why do you want to see me now?
They don't want to see me either. They're looking at members of this group going, Stephanie, ooh, look at that loser. They're doing the same thing I'm doing. It is what it is. Okay, well, I gave an update on my little house saga going on now. So what about you? You got any updates?
This sounds so dull and boring, but I mean, I'm still living life. Going to work every day and making sure my kids are fed and alive, and that's about it.
Hey, that's an accomplishment. That's an accomplishment, girl.
I'm gonna go run to my daddy.
Yep. You just living your life on the prairie.
Yeah, I am just living my life on my little prairie.
How's work going?
It's going good. We're still waiting for more updates on our new building, and slowly but surely.
Ooh, yeah. If you guys have forgotten, or maybe you don't care, just be real. Just thanks. You don't care about us, but you're here. What does that say? What does that say about you? If you don't care, but you're listening to us, I don't know. Thanks. Thank you. Very demure of you. That plane took off with that joke and it did not land.
At least we laughed.
Yeah, we did. So, no, if you guys don't remember, we are both data managers. I work in the public sector and Amanda works in the private school sector. But you know what? We join hands, and we join hands for the children.
We here for the same goal. For the children's. We can't afford the Red Lobster, but we here for the children.
Yes, and I'm gonna say this. I don't care to say it. I'm someone that I'm definitely for public education myself, but I don't knock anybody that chooses to put their child in private school at all. I think both can totally exist. It's okay. Both can exist. We live in a world where they can exist and be fine. Yes. It's not the end of the world.
Nope.
That both exist. And it's not the end of the world that both exist in the same county. Okay? We're going to be okay. Exactly. We just need to get that. I know. So I'm cool, totally with it. Mm-hmm. So
you have a choice, and you should have a choice. I mean,
I know. You have a choice.
Your children are your responsibility. How you raise them is up to you.
Yep. And however you want to proceed with doing that, you're right to do. Exercise your right.
Exactly.
To party.
That was a little loud in my ear.
Just make sure you party righteously. Okay, here we go. So, yeah, I know we started off kind of silly. We started off being a silly goose with this podcast, but for real, we actually have a heavier topic today, and that's why we wanted to start it out a little lighter and just kind of be stupid. But now we're going to get into the nitty gritty of the meat kind of this episode of the podcast. And it is, I'm going to turn it over to Amanda. And I know Amanda's probably thankful because I like to talk. So she's probably like, now's my time. But no, this episode is going to be about her experience being a young widow as a young mother. So I'm going to let you take it away and let you steer this whatever way you feel comfortable steering it. Go for it.
Now, I do have one or two fans that have said they enjoy hearing me talk, and I've never been complimented on my voice, so maybe it's when I do the Siri. I don't know, but hey out there, thanks.
Yeah.
So this is an episode that we have really talked about doing from the beginning.
Yes.
We want to keep, we want to have some funny stuff. We want to have some serious stuff, some encouraging stuff. obviously stupid stuff. It's just us. That's us.
Yeah.
And you're going to find out that the two of us, we are very deep. We have a lot to us. There's more than meets the eye.
Yep.
Our
We have
senses of
more
humor,
depth beyond our
way more
stupidity.
depth, and more than we admit.
Yeah.
And so, but, so this is one that's been requested. And so we decided just to go ahead and deny it because we just haven't done it. So, I became a widow, totally unexpected at the age of 32, September of 2021. My boys were 11 and 4 at the time, and my husband Stephen was 37. He didn't have any health problems, but he contracted COVID, and it ended up turning into a very severe and intense pneumonia that basically stiffened his lungs like stone. And he was in the hospital for a week, placed on the ventilator. They put him on paralytics. Excuse me.
I remember before he went in the hospital, when we were kind of talking through that while you were at your house, and you said you were really concerned because his lips were turning blue. He was struggling.
We had, he was one to always bush hog our field above the house every September. And he would always get bronchitis from stirring up all the grass and dust and junk. It was just normal.
Same with Brian.
So these country boys.
Yep.
And they won't wear a mask to protect. They just do it. And this was before the whole mask thing for germs. This is just, for dust.
Well, and when you're farming like that and stuff, I mean, Brian says it makes him about pass out to even wear anything like that. That it's almost easier just for him to go through the bronchitis.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah. And so he had bush hogged the week before he got sick. And so we really thought that he had gotten bronchitis. And he had called his doctor. Doctor called him in an inhaler, some albuterol, to see if that would help. It kind of sort of helped. But then me and Jacob and Joshua started to get sick, but ours was minor. Mine felt like a sinus infection, and the boys, it was like a 2 or 3 day head cold for them, and that was it. And it was very minor. Yep. And so we ended up going to the ER because he was at the point he wanted to be tested, and he was not one to go to the doctor unless he was very bad off. Right. And so went to the ER. I'm not going to say which one. We went to the ER, and they didn't do a chest x-ray or anything. And they just sent him home with a stronger dose of albuterol, which is an inhaler. Yeah. And I think some prednisone, some steroids. Yeah, and probably. Sent him home same day. And with COVID, we couldn't go in with him. And the three of us just boo-hooed after dropping him off at the ER because we didn't know if we were going to see him again. Was this COVID? Oh, everything's scary. Everybody we know around us is getting hooked up to ventilators. And we knew several that had passed while on the vent. And that terrified us.
What year was this when this happened?
Was September of 21.
21. So this was, so during that year period, the height, I think, of the death toll, at least around here, was like August 2020 to the end of that year when this is happening.
And so he sat in the ER for about 3 days before a bed at a bigger hospital became open for ICU. And he was in the hospital a week. I couldn't be with him because of COVID. I couldn't be with him until his final hours. And it was the longest, hardest week of my life. I mean, I was so sick on my stomach, and everybody's like, oh, it's the COVID. No, it was nerves. It was nerves. I was so weak. I was so dizzy. So dehydrated. I had not slept for days. Like, I would try, but I couldn't. And we would call for updates, and that hold music that everybody if you go on TikTok and they're like dancing to the hold music, I have PTSD listening to that.
Yes. And
I can't listen.
And
listen to
ever
it.
since you told me that, that's what I think about every time I think of Stephen.
And even the sound of like the machines in the hospitals, like the vent and everything else, all the monitors, that I had a lot of PTSD from that. I think it's not bad now if I were to hear it, but the first 2 years, definitely I couldn't. It like brought a hard sinking pit. Like it just, I can't describe it, what it felt like in my
Oh yeah.
chest and in my stomach. And like I could feel it in my shoulders. It's awful. I had to change my phone ringtone too, because every time I heard that ringtone, it brought back those memories. I mean, I've never been through something so traumatic. Like it was, I don't know. It was just really, really bad.
Yeah.
And I've really not told people that till now. But
Well, it makes me think. I heard somebody that I know that had a loved one pass from COVID. They said similar things. But that the feeling that their nerves being shot, feeling like they're trapped on the other end of the phone, not being able to get to them, that they said they likened it to almost feeling like you're in a burning building and people are giving you glasses of water to try to put out the fire.
Yeah.
And like they're thinking they're a help, and it is a help, but at the same time, like the fire is just so immense.
Yeah.
Or almost like they liken it to being almost like they're in a plane crash. Like the plane is crashing. You can't make that situation better. And it's just like this pit feeling in your stomach in a knot. And I couldn't imagine what that must have been like.
But it was Sunday, September 26th, the 21. It was about 3 a.m. Got a call. His lungs had collapsed multiple times. They would do an intervention and it would work for a little bit and then it'd fail. And they'd intervene and then it would fail. And he was just his body was shutting down. So they called me back about 4:30 and they said, "We need you to get down here." And I was still sick with COVID. I know I had it. I didn't get tested. But I still went, and I lied when I got there. I drove by myself at like 5 a.m. down 421, about 80 miles an hour to get there, because I was determined I was going to be with him before he passed. And I was praying, Lord, please let me make it before he passes. I just want to be with him when he does, because I knew it was coming. I knew that they had done everything they could do. His sister's a nurse, and she was able to call and talk to the nurses and explain to me better what was going on. So I drove myself down there, and I'm the type, when I go into shock, like I don't cry.
Right.
I'm just in go mode. Like, okay, we have business to take care of.
Like you're in a fog, kind of.
Yeah, we'll cry later, but we've got stuff to take care of.
Right.
And I guess I have a fight response instead of a flight response. So I got down there and they asked me, "Have you had symptoms?" I lied. I said no. I said nope. And I lied so I could get in and be with him. And
you know what? I don't think there's a person in the world that blames you for doing that.
No, I don't feel bad for that. I mean, I shouldn't have lied, but at the same time, I was going to be with him.
Right. Do what you got to do.
Because I couldn't be with him any other time. And I got there, and they made me suit up from head to toe, and that took forever. It felt like 2 hours, even though it only took like 5 minutes to suit up. And I'm like, dude, just let me in with him.
Yeah, and there's something I'm sure that was so unnatural about that.
Very.
Like something really distressing, just having to do that, even to go into the same room, almost like they're treating them as if they're a toxic person, and not a toxic like germ. But I mean, I realize now why staff had to take those measures, but it was just, I mean, all the way around, that was just a traumatic time, like, worldwide.
I couldn't even hold his hand skin to skin. I had to have a glove on. They would not let me take it off.
Wow.
But I was watching the monitors, and since I had a little bit of a medical background, I knew kind of what to look for, what was normal, what was not. And I was watching his body shut down on that screen right in front of me. And just something told me, it was about 10:30, 11 o'clock. Something told me, call the boys, let them talk to their daddy. And I'm going to try not to cry.
It's all right.
I called the boys and I let them know. I said, it's not going to be long. And Jacob just screamed on the phone. And I let them talk to him because even though he was under a paralytic, he could still hear.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what everybody was saying, talk to him, sing to him, whatever. But I do not regret letting the boys talk to him because I think it was good for both boys and Stephen. And then about 20 minutes later, after I hung up, tears started rolling down his cheeks, and I knew he was seeing Jesus. And that's like when it started to really sink in. But also I had peace because, I know I'll see him again. And I knew what he was seeing, but I didn't want to let go because he was young. And, we'd only been married 12 years and we still had plans and we still had so much. And it's not just the person that you grieve, it's the plans and the future that you grieve. And his two brothers made it just in time, and the three of us were with him. They let them come in. We're with him when he passed. It was about 11:30 that morning. And and I drove myself home. I had so many offers. Can we drive you home? I said no. I said, I'm fine.
What was that drive like? Was it just like unbelievable? Like you just kind of couldn't even believe this?
Yeah, it was like I didn't cry a lot. Like I teared up some, but I was still in that shock, in that fight response. Because the first thing that came to my mind was, okay, I have a mortgage. I'm down to one income. I have two babies. What do I do now? What do I even do? And I'm just praying, Lord, you're going to have to show me. You're going to have to guide me. You're going to have to help me. I'm willing to put in the work, but you've got to show me.
Aside from losing your husband on the spot like that, then and some people might think, I guess, to themselves, how can you think about that when that happens? Because you're suddenly a single mom.
Yep.
You have to think about that.
You have to.
And I hope people listening can understand that perspective, because it's not out of selfishness. It's we have two children together, and how am I going to make it with them now?
Yeah.
I mean, aside from the fact, it's like I'm sure it's probably like you had to compartmentalize the trauma. Probably like, okay, there's a compartment of our children, not my children, our children. And what is even the next step with our children now? And how do I walk with them in this together, just us three? There's that whole compartment. And then there's the whole other compartment, I'm sure, of, hey, I just lost the love of my life. Yeah. In this way, that's a whole other different compartment of trauma. And then there's the worry about like everything else that's with a sudden death has suddenly just fallen on you at once. That is immense to even think about. Just even on the other side of it, as me as an outsider looking in, I cannot imagine how that would have felt.
I've clung to a verse for the past 3 years, and I still cling to it. And it's the second half of Hebrews 13:5. For he hath said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. And that is what I just remind myself. He's not going to leave me. He hasn't left me. He's not going to forsake me. And he hasn't. And he has shown up in my life in so many huge ways to take care of my boys without having to worry and without feeling like I'm drowning. I mean, most days I still feel overwhelmed because like I've got so much on me that to take care of, but I'm thankful that I'm able to do that. I'm not complaining. I'm thankful I can do that. It's just a heavy load because you're one
Right.
person trying to do all of this yourself and trying to stay strong for your kids and for yourself. And
Yeah. And you brought up something on Facebook about a month or so, maybe a little more ago, that admittedly I never really stopped to think about. So I'm glad that you put it on there. But it was something about something to the degree of people don't understand that I am mom and dad now.
Yep.
Like that doesn't just mean, oh, I'm a single parent. That means I'm mowing the yard. I'm servicing the vehicles. I'm doing like it's there. Nothing is split up anymore. And I need people to understand that. And I'm just like,
yeah.
oh my gosh. Like I had not even considered
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah. I pack the lunches. I pay the bills. Because Stephen, he would take care of paying all the bills. He would make sure they got paid. And then like I had to learn, oh gosh, we have all this to take care of. And then like I pack the lunches. I wash the clothes. I iron the clothes. I pick out
You
the
plan
clothes.
that you make the finances, you plan the finances, you pay the bills.
Everything.
I mean, all of it came crashing down at one time.
Yeah. And
I mean, you were, helping take care of Stephen's family. So that's another factor. So it was just, wham.
I think it's important for people to know that widows really do become a different person. I know I did. Like it's not necessarily bad.
It's kind of like a metamorphosis you didn't ask for.
It really is.
But you have to take on because you don't have a choice.
Like I felt that I was a good wife, but I can see ways now I can be even better in the future. Like serve my future husband more, love him
because
deeper, appreciate him more.
Happened.
Not going to complain about the little things that maybe once have been a pet peeve. And it really, really bothers me and aggravates me when I hear others gripe, oh, he left his socks on the floor. Oh, he didn't do this. Oh, he didn't do that.
Right.
When all that time I would have given just, to be able to do that one more time for him. And I would not have said a thing. But I guess to process
that definitely changes your perspective on everything when you lose somebody like that.
Like the way people joke about things, you definitely have a different perspective. And it's like, I'm such a I've always been independent, but like I'm hyper independent, and it's not, I try not to come off as prideful because it's not like, oh, look what I did. Because I mean, it's easy to get in that mindset. You're like, oh, wow, that's cool. I did that.
Yeah.
It's because I have no choice. And I don't want to be a burden to others and be a bother to others. Maybe it's prideful. I don't know. Because I just try to be humble,
Right.
But at the same time, like we should ask for help when we need it. So I got smart, worked it in my budget, and I hired me a mowing guy, and that has saved.
That's been a blessing.
Such a blessing. So
you shouted him out a time or two on here.
I'm about to the point of trying to work it in my budget to have a housekeeper because I can't keep up. I'm telling you, I come home, fix the boys something to eat, we do homework, we get showers and baths and clothes out for the next day. And I've just laid everything out on the kitchen table, and I've not had time to put things away. And by the end of the week, it's awful. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. But it's, but
I get it. I mean, that would still be overwhelming. It's like you're a juggler and people keep throwing you balls.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy crap, I can't.
But I'm making it. And it's the good Lord.
You are.
It's the good Lord. I could not do this without his strength at all.
How have the boys been? Have you seen a change in how they? I mean, have you seen? I don't know how I'm trying to word this. What changes have you seen in your boys as they've grown the last 3 years?
I feel like it's made us even closer, because I'm all they have, and they really seem to appreciate me more and appreciate what I do more. They've handled it. They're resilient, so resilient. Like they have their moments too, but it's been 3 years. We've all, we've healed a lot, and we don't have hardly any bad moments. On the anniversary, yeah. On his birthday, Christmas, yeah.
Oh yeah.
But so much changes. Like even the way you eat, the way you shop for groceries changes.
Oh yeah.
The time of day you eat, the places you go, the people
you have to totally
go out with, and
you have to totally kind of take on a whole new life.
Yeah,
even down to your routine.
Stephen was my chapter 1, so now I'm in my chapter 2, and that's the best way I can explain it. It's like it's not that I've moved on; I'm just moving forward.
Right,
and it's like I'll always love him, but and I will always honor his memory. And if I find a new love, I hope that he will want to honor
that he's
Stephen's
not going to try to erase.
Yeah.
I have seen people in the past with others I know that have went through things similar that it has greatly angered me.
Yeah.
That sometimes when it's almost like they're just trying to stamp out another person's existence, and like, hey, you can't take that from those children and that spouse, because at the end of the day, they're a widow, they're a widower. That person existed. You've got to honor that.
Well, it's like I was telling someone the other day. I said, if you're over the age of 30 and you're getting into another relationship, everybody brings something, whether it's they've had kids, they've had a previous marriage, they've been widowed, something. And if you're trying to find somebody that does not have that, you're not going to find anybody. So you've got to overlook stuff like that and see that this is a whole new chapter of life.
Right.
And build there. You're not in the past. So
definitely. I know. It's something, like, and there's a lot of, public figures that have been through things similar. Jeremy Camp being one of them.
Yes. I love that movie about him.
Yes.
I still believe I want to watch it again. It is so good.
Yes. I love that his wife, when he got remarried, I love that think about it. Like, there was a movie and everything that she had to watch made about his previous marriage. Yeah. And she can't control that. And I don't know what her true feelings are about something like that. But in public, she seems to handle that with a lot of respect and grace.
Yeah.
I admire people like that.
Yeah. I think the hardest emotions hit after the dust settled.
Oh yeah.
Of course, I was a mess at the funeral, obviously. But once the dust had settled, everybody's gone back to their lives and moved on. And here I am in a big lonely house trying to figure out life. And
that's why the concept of what they call it in the industry is aftercare is so important. Yes. A lot of times I even this is my advice of someone that was previously in the funeral industry and someone that's a pastor's daughter, someone that's currently serving on a cemetery committee. I still maintain these connections, y'all. Something that the most important thing you can do to help someone that is going through grief is not during the services. It is after. When they are buried, when they are cremated and they pick them up, take them home. However, when the dust settles and clears, that is when people need people in their lives.
Yeah.
That's when they need it.
Send a card.
Send a card. Make a phone call.
Hey,
ask them.
Let's go out to eat.
Or
just a text. Hey, I was thinking about you and I prayed for you today. Those go so far.
Yes, huge.
So far.
That is when that dust settles and people face the reality. I mean, you got to think after someone passes, people are in a lot of contact with the person that's grieving. They're constantly, they're at the funeral home. They're like, constantly meeting with people, meeting with family. People are offering their condolences. They're sending flowers. There's all this care. And it's just like spiraling for the next 3 or 4 days. And then suddenly the brakes hit. And then and you've lived this reality. You're in a house by yourself.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, this is my life now. What am I going to do? That's a thing.
I don't feel like I'm on that roller coaster of emotions anymore. I guess,
Good.
I feel like I've healed.
At first, I'm sure that was overwhelming.
I've reestablished myself. I've learned how to live life on my own with the Lord's help, of course. I don't see how people live without him.
I don't either. I really don't.
The way the Lord laid things out right before, there's so much. Like, I could go on for weeks telling y'all the way the Lord laid things out for me and the boys to be okay. And even down to, like, I was hired the month before.
Yep.
At my school, and that has been the greatest support system because I'm with them more than I am at home or anywhere else, pretty much.
Yep.
And
they've really been a huge support
wonderful
system for you.
Between
spiritually.
Them, yeah. And them and the Lord knew I needed my boys when I did, because if it weren't for them, I will be honest, I would have went off the deep end. Because between having the good Lord, of course, and my boys, that's what's kept me grounded.
Oh, yeah.
Because, my focus has been on the boys, and that's helped keep my head on straight. I probably would have, I would have went off the deep end if it were not for them.
But the Lord had that worked out from the beginning of the boys' days.
And
he knew.
Exactly. That's why Jacob was a honeymoon baby. I'm just saying. When you can look back and see things like that, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
That was the Lord,
But
he totally, and some people, when things like this happen, they have the opposite attitude toward God. They're like, how could God allow that to happen in my life? But we never know the impact or why the Lord allows certain things to happen or not happen to people. And we won't understand it fully until we meet them face to face.
Yeah. But
you just have to trust it. But that's not easy.
If you're in the Word, you'll see that, there was times that Jesus didn't heal every single person. And that's what our pastor had hit on yesterday about how, not everybody was healed. And we wonder why, but there's a bigger purpose and a bigger reason. And, through all of this, I don't want people to see me. I want them to see Jesus. And I know there have been a lot of eyes on me because Stephen was very well known in the community. So
everybody knew Stephen.
I befriended a lot of his friends, his coworkers. I just want people to see Jesus in me and through me. And I hope that I have been and can be an example of what it means to trust God in the unknown when you're at your lowest and yet you still praise him anyway. One of the songs that I picked for his funeral was called Still I Will Praise You by Sisters. Incredible, powerful song. But
that was a good one.
Yeah. But it's like my pastor says, when the time that you...
That one and Scars in Heaven.
Yeah, that was a good one. Like my pastor always says, when you don't feel like praising him, that's when you need to praise him the most.
Yep.
We're supposed to be thankful in everything. We don't have to be thankful for everything, but we need to be thankful in everything.
Right.
And so, but thankful for the good Lord, how he's provided. He has shown up, unexpected checks in the mail. Because there's been times, like even recently, I'm like, I may have to get a second job. I do not have widow money, contrary to some rumor that's been going around. Apparently that's another thing. They're like, somebody apparently said that they thought that I got a lot of money because he was in emergency services. He didn't get anything from that. So
people need to mind their own.
They need to mind their own business.
Stay in your lane.
this is the good Lord providing and helping me. I'm putting in the
Right.
work, but He's still providing in other extra ways.
Mm-hmm.
But, I had mentioned in a previous episode we did that, I do hope to find love again. I'm fair.
And some people, I feel like, and I've not heard anything like this about you specifically, but I commonly hear, like with widows or widowers, people have mixed opinions. It's kind of a mixed bag. They're like, oh, if I were widowed, I'd probably do this. I'm like, you don't know what you would do.
No, you do not know until you are in that situation.
You do not know. Never
People
say
can
never.
say, here's an example. People can go into Walmart and be like, well, if somebody comes and shoots up the store, I'm going to do this. No, you don't know.
You're going to hide in that clothing rack, more than likely.
Exactly.
I mean, really.
You have no idea until
You
it's
have no
you.
idea. Until
idea.
you are in that person's shoes, you cannot make a call like that. You would, you can have little perceptions about what you think you would do, or what you hope you might do to yourself, like within your own heart in a situation, but you can't project that onto another person, and especially one that's young and has 2 young children. I mean, you just can't. But I'm sure people do that. Have you had anybody? You don't have to say who they are, but have you had anybody make weird snide comments?
Not really. That I've only
I'm
heard
glad then.
that rumor, and then, but I've not. Thankfully,
I'm sure that hurt enough, though.
Yeah, because it's like, why would you say something like that? I mean,
I know.
it's yeah, it doesn't help that I bought a new car, but it's because I budgeted. I was in need of a car, and so I mean, it's none of their business anyway. But
well, what do they want you to get? A van? Like that's going to be more of a gas guzzler than anything else. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I don't understand what do people expect out of a young widow? Do they expect you to wear black lace and
grieve for the rest of your life? No, you've got to go on.
You have two boys. You have to like you said, not forget things, but you have to push forward.
And it's made me branch out a whole lot more. Like we would go on family vacations, and so I wanted to keep that tradition with the boys, but Steven always planned everything. So now I plan them, and we've had the best times, and I have splurged, and I've blown money like crazy sometimes on them, but it has been so worth it because of the memories.
Right.
And you can earn that money back. You can't get that time back. And so it's I try to do more with the boys to make memories and not spoil them, but we're gonna splurge once in a while and enjoy ourselves and get the things that we like once in a while. Treat ourselves nice.
Death brings about so much of many new perspectives.
It really does.
There are people, so this is in no way related to your situation, but this is what made me think about that. I feel like people sometimes judge the way I parent, sometimes because I have a different perspective than some of them do. Than some people do. I've never lost a child myself. I pray to God that never happens. I pray to God that's not the path or plan that God has for my life. But if it is, I will have to walk that. But when I worked in a funeral service, I mean, I was the woman in the building. I was the resident woman, the only woman in the building for most of the time duration I worked there. And I wasn't a mother, but there's something about being a woman, like it's kind of innate in you to mother. And so when there were children that came through that funeral home as, deceased children, individuals, I carried them. I casketed them. I did those things, and I watched parents come in, babies, stillbirths, toddlers, 4-year-olds, teenagers, young adults. I watched people bury their children over and over and over. And that, I never grew callous to that. And one of my best friends lost her little boy to cancer. And they buried him a few days before Otto was born. I was pregnant at the graveside. And those things totally shift your perspective on how you carry yourself in certain situations in life. And I don't spoil my child, but because of those instances, I think about certain things a different way. Yeah. And I'm thankful for that perspective, but it's something that on the outside, people might look at me and just be like, you're soft. Yeah. But you, in your case, death has really affected. And I mean, we can just say it like, I'm just a blunt person. If the listeners don't know, Amanda, unfortunately, is no stranger to death in her life. It's almost a constant. Yeah. But Amanda has, me as an outsider, like, you're one of my like heroes of the faith walking through something like this, because I could not probably carry myself the same way. And I'm not saying you don't have your times behind closed doors, but me, I already know myself. I could not walk publicly the way you are. So you might not feel like you're doing a great job, but you really are.
I appreciate that.
And I just want to tell you that I love you.
I love you.
We're hugging through the microphone.
But, it's been 3 years. I'm open. I'm not looking, but I'm open to love again. I'm very, very picky, which nothing wrong with that, because I was picky with Steven.
Well, you got to be. Well, you know how crazy everybody is nowadays? People, really, all joking aside, you have had some dating app experiences.
Oh,
Lord.
Never again. But my standards, just breezing over that.
We're just gonna breeze. I'm not gonna say a name because I don't know the name. But when you have somebody that told you they became a stepdad at 18,
no,
that's a red flag. No. That's a billboard, ma'am. That's a billboard, ma'am. I said at 18, huh?
But my standards are high because I can provide what I require. I'm going to say that again. My standards are high because I can provide what I require, meaning I know what I bring to the table. Right. I'm not the type of woman that says, I don't need a man. And I'm also not the type of woman that always has to have a man. Some that just jump from relationship to relationship because they're afraid to be alone. I've not dated. But my top 3 requirements, they have to be met first. Number one, he has to love the Lord, and I want him to love the Lord more than he loves me. Right. Because when you learn how to love Christ and you truly learn how Christ loves us, that's when you learn how to really love your spouse. Right. Number 2, and this was a tough one for some to meet, because I actually had several interested in me, but they did not have experience at this. He's got to be experienced at being a husband and leading a home. And he's got to have experience at being a dad, especially now that I'm raising a teenager. Yeah. Yeah. And another thing, money and status do not impress me. I am low maintenance. I don't even go get my nails done. I've had my nails done once.
We like Sheen. Yeah. We Sheen girls.
Like, you cannot... I'm not rich, but I manage and budget my money very, very well.
You ain't a gold digger.
I'm able to...
She take my money.
Me and Amazon are best buddies. So you can't buy my love because I already bought it for myself.
Money can't buy me love.
And I hunt for bargains too on this stuff. So I can get even more if I want it. But I'm plain Jane simple, low maintenance.
My advice to people, I know a girl at church recently, she said she went on a first date with a dude, and it might not be common practice, and people out there might hear this and think it's crazy, but she said, you know what, I just laid it all out on the table. I said, here's what I'm looking for. If you ain't it,
Yeah.
Leave, like literally don't call me back. Delete my number.
That right there.
Yeah, and here's the thing. People, and there might be people listening to this going, what? Well, the thing is, me and Amanda, we are like-minded in that when we date, I say like I'm dating now or something.
Stephanie,
I am not available. I am happily married. I'm not
Brian
available.
put a ring on it.
I put a ring
a while back.
Even though I literally said that we stared at each other and we're like, how did we get married? Because like it's funny because I'm telling opposites attract. They do. We're proof of that. But I'm just like, I don't know, people in today's time, people are they're just loose cannons with relationships and with people. And I'm just like, no, we're in that, and I don't call it old fashioned. I call it biblical.
Yeah.
We're in that, I'm sorry. The Bible's not outdated to me and Amanda. It's not.
Nope.
And if you're a believer, it shouldn't be to you either. Our sense of right and wrong and what should and shouldn't be is not more developed than God's. So to us, dating is for marriage. You're checking compatibility for marriage. I was never one that I never dated just to have fun. Like I wasn't.
It was for a purpose.
It was for a dating with a purpose.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was like over time, let's see where this develops. If you're not somebody I feel led to maybe marry someday, this relationship is ending. Yep. And a lot of people are just like, that is ridiculous. I'm like, but I bet you have a lot of drama in your life. I'm sorry. I do. And it's just like, how do you live life not having a sense of purpose with someone you're romantically interested in? I don't understand that. So, if people are listening to that going, what? I'm like, that's just how we are. It's what we believe. And we feel it's a biblical perspective. We don't feel it's outdated.
No.
So I just want to put that out there.
I did go through a roller coaster, not so much now, of like days where I would be like, oh, I am fine single. I've got this. I am okay if I don't date. I'm so busy anyway with the boys. He's probably going to feel neglected. And then the next day I'd be like, I just wish I had somebody to talk to and somebody hold my hand and somebody to hug me and just let me talk about my day. And I want to hear about his day. It's just in constant up and down, up and down, up and down. And that's just part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and I think that's normal.
Totally normal.
Yeah. I mean, people have to understand. They have to give you grace in being okay and accepting of finding love again one day.
Yeah.
Because they have to give you grace with that because you are a young widow. You're not 85. You're not an old maid.
I was able to have a really good conversation with Jacob about that. I told him, I said, you know what? I said, my daddy passed away 3 weeks before I got married. And I said, your Nana, my mama, later found love again. At first, I said, I was not okay with it. I did not want her. I didn't see it from her perspective. Mm-hmm. I said, and I felt the same thing. So I understand if you upset if I want to date again. And I think that really helped him knowing. And then I explained to him, I said, my dad was great. I said, but look at how your papa, your treats, your Nana now. Like, he is so good to her, treats her like she's queen of the world. I mean, she'll just mention something and he'll just go do it. She doesn't even ask and he just does it. And I said, don't you want something like that for mommy? And they're like, yeah. I said, wouldn't you like to have somebody maybe to go, go hang out with, go do things with? And they're kind of like, yeah. And so yeah. That was a
Well,
good conversation. It was a hard conversation, but it was
right.
good. But good for him to know that I felt that at first, but now I love my stepdad, my bonus dad. He's
Hmm.
amazing. He's amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, there are things that it's funny how things like go in life. Because, like, my
Mhm.
daddy's stepdad,
Mhm.
love and appreciate him to death. So, I mean, and he's not even my stepdad, he's my daddy's stepdad.
Mhm.
That's what's just funny. There are situations like that where people they'll pick up a torch of another and they won't douse it. They'll continue carrying it.
Mhm.
If that was dramatic, but you know what? But you know what I'm trying to.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I'm trying
yeah.
to say. Like they won't try to put out a previous person's flame. Instead, they'll
Yeah.
pick it up and keep it going.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important way maybe to look at it too. But
So,
also, that's good that you've been through those emotions and you can
yeah.
talk to your boys about things like that. Because how old were you when your daddy died?
20.
Yes, yeah, like you said, it was 3 weeks
Yeah.
before you got married.
Yeah.
Man,
So, yeah.
yeah.
But
So
it's
you've been through that. You
I
were older,
process
but still, you've had to
yeah.
process that.
I processed a lot of my emotions from losing Steven by just digital journaling. Like I have to type it out because I'm slow at handwriting and I don't want to keep up with the
Mm-hmm.
book. And it's accessible, if I'm on the
Oh
go and I'm
yeah.
like, oh, I want to write this thought down. It's
Yep.
interesting, my thoughts, my prayers, my feelings. And it's interesting to go back and see how my perspectives have changed since then,
Changed.
how my feelings have changed, how I was in that moment versus today. And to see the growth in myself and
Mm-hmm.
so
I bet the
it's
growth within, like, what do they call it? The inner growth has been
hmm
exponential
it really has. It really has. And
through the last few years. I mean, it doesn't mean like you're elevated to godhood, but you know what I'm saying?
no, no, no,
Like,
no.
you've got a total. It's like you've got a total new way of understanding God that's been in the process of
Yeah.
being developed over the last few years and continues to develop.
But even though it's been a hard journey, I'm excited for the woman that I've become, that I am becoming, will become, and, what the Lord has in store for me next.
Mm-hmm.
I believe He's got something really big on the horizon. I'm not going to go into detail, but I can just say that I've seen His hand here recently in some things, and there's been a lot of green lights and just good things coming for me and the boys that I'm really really excited for. So
Good. Good.
it's the Lord working it out. He's opening doors and doing things in ways that only He can, and so I'm really excited for that.
Right.
So
Bless. Well, y'all, that was an episode. But I'm it sounded bad. You know what I mean? Like it needed to be out there.
mm-hmm.
I think that's something we both on the podcast needed to have out there. And like you said, it was something that we'd been planning.
Mm-hmm.
It had been on our like episode idea, like topic list for a long time. And I'm glad we tackled that with this one today.
And it has given me the opportunity to help others going through death
Yes.
and grief that I normally wouldn't have connected with. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm kind of hoping maybe this podcast will help somebody, maybe who's struggling, goes through it,
Right.
reach out to me. I'll sit down, I'll talk with you, pray with you. Cause I've been there and
Right.
yeah. So,
Yep. You've been there. You are there.
yeah.
So yeah.
It,
Um.
yeah.
So my grandma actually. It was yesterday. It's been 9 years since my grandpa died, and she's gonna kill me because she was actually. I saw her at Taco Bell in Taylorsville. Me and some girlfriends from years back. We have a joke that is basically the holy sepulcher of Taylorsville. For some reason, God met us in Taco Bell so many times, y'all. So, like during Bible studies years back, so funny. So that's still the holy hub of Taylorsville. Well, the holy hub, yes. For some reason, well, yesterday after church, me and Brian, we decided, I was like, oh, let's swing by KFC, Taco Bell, going there. And my grandma's always there. She's sitting in the red Kia Soul with the black top. She's always there almost every Sunday, eating in her car by herself, because that was a place she always took Papa after church.
Mm-hmm.
They liked getting KFC after church. And so it took her a few years, but she started going back, and she just sits in the car by herself and then listens to our church service online after her own church service she just gets out from. She's just having kind of her double church and eating her KFC like a true Baptist, eating that KFC. And she's eating that cheese.
Extra crispy.
Original
recipe.
Original recipe, Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, get that from that gravy. That coleslaw. That macaroni. And them biscuits.
You said that.
We ain't right, y'all.
You
Them
said
biscuits.
that macaroni. That macaroni.
Give me them biscuits.
Oh my god! but no, it was great. No,
I'm a
she.
weirdo.
But no, she was doing that yesterday, and I seen her there, and I know it was the anniversary, and dummy me decides to do the stupidest thing in the world. I go up to the side of her car. She's got the window down. I hear her listening to my church service we just got out of, and I run out her car and scream at her and about make her wet herself. I know my grandma, I about gave her a heart attack and killed her right there. I would have felt bad. But like, she was laughing and she seemed to be in good spirits and things like that. But that was yesterday, and it got me thinking how far my grandma has come. So it's a long story with the health of my grandpa, but he was on a downward spiral with his health, with epilepsy and grand mal seizures, and ability after ability being removed from him, being taken from him over the years. Mobility, his ability to read and write, do math. He was a carpenter. So that was devastating to him, and it was just one thing after another. Well, my grandma took care of him like one should, as a spouse, until the day he died. And after he died, she was an older widow that said, I'm going to die if I sit in this house and I don't do anything. So she decided she was going to pull up her bootstraps and she was going to do something for other people. So she started the group, some of you guys might have heard of it, maybe not. It's called the Lemonade Ladies. Mm-hmm. And it is a widows meeting. And it's not exclusive to older widows, although all of them are older. It's just a widows group. And they meet once a month at Mount Nebo Baptist Church in Hidnite. The one in Hidnite, not Harmony, the one in Hidnite. Mm-hmm. And they meet there once a month. They have a potluck and they make a day event out of it. They have devotions, they have entertainment, they have mission work they do. It's a big thing that they do. She does that. For years, she did a caregiver's breakfast once a month at her house, where she may still do it. I'm not sure, but she did. She would invite people that were caregivers at home. They would know ahead of time so they could set up somebody to watch their person for a few hours, and she'd serve them all breakfast. She did all kinds of things. She was always finding something to do. She was going to the Y. She would do the water aerobics. I call her a water lily, and I make fun of her. We laugh about it every morning. She's like, oh, I got to go to the pond today. I was like, you going to be a water lily? She said, yes, a water lily. We laugh about it, but she's always on the go. So I'm not a widow myself, and I'm not an older widow especially, but my grandma showed me something that I want to be if I'm ever widowed. And she said she has got to do something with her life going forward. She did not want to just sit in her house.
No.
And just waste away on that. And a lot of people do. And maybe people aren't physically able to do. But I know people that they do card ministries. Like they're widows and they're not physically able to get out or whatever. They do like card ministries. They'll write like 10 cards a day, send them out to people. There's things you can do if you're not a younger widow, and you're not interested in dating or anything like that. There's plenty more. Find your niche there's a purpose for you. You don't think that it's gone. I don't know. That's my grandma's. Mm-hmm. That's something I've learned from my grandma's older widows or widowers.
Mm-hmm.
Find it.
Yeah, you've got to, or you'll grieve yourself to death.
Yeah.
And that's no way to live. That is
True.
No way to live. You cannot grieve forever. I mean, you'll always grieve, but you cannot grieve to the point to where you dig yourself an early grave,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't want that to be me either, so I admire her for that. It's hard, but you have to. You have to keep going. You have to live life.
Man, my homegirl, she went on a cruise, and we asked her, she's in her 80s, went on a cruise. And I said, we said, did you take any pictures? She said, no. And we said, why not? She said, I mean, it's just water. Just water? You went on a cruise, honey? She went on a cruise. I said, you went on a cruise and it was just water. She said, yep, just water. I was laughing about that. But yeah, get out. Don't, try not to let it swallow you. I've learned that from her.
This has been a great episode. I'm glad we started off light, and that's what we're here for, to give you. We are well-rounded.
We're well-rounded.
We're going to give it to you from all angles, and
yeah, you never know what you're going to get with two girls from T-Ville.
You're going to get some laughs. You're going to get some encouragement. You're going to be like, what they say?
You're going to get some tears. You're going to get the stupidest things you've ever heard come out of somebody's mouth.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You're very welcome.
No charge for that.
Yeah. No
comes
charge
free.
For that. Well, let's see. I guess we'll wrap it up with shout outs. Do you have any shout outs to local business? Anything going on? I want to give a shout out to Campbell's Feed and Fertilizer.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out because my husband and my family works there. And I'm going to tell you this, wherever you're buying feed from, they're making it.
Mm-hmm.
Cut out the middleman. Cut out the middleman and go to Campbell's Feed and Fertilizer. Make the drive. It's pretty up here in
It's
Old
even
Union
fresher.
Grove.
It's even fresher there.
It's even fresher for your chickens.
Yeah, so you can have the freshest eggs
Yes,
for your breakfast.
You need a custom high protein mix for them draft horses. They're going to do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the other places, they're just going to have Campbell's do it. Cut out the middleman.
Don't they
go
have,
to Campbell's?
Don't they have fresh ground cornmeal?
That is the Lenny's meal part.
Okay. We'll cut that out. Never mind. I was trying to slide a joke in there about like the biscuits and the cornbread.
yeah, Lenny's meal.
The way you just said that so matter of factly, like, girl, you stupid.
Well, Campbell's Feed and Fertilizer, and it's all the same building. That was so funny, though. That was so funny. We do have to cut it, but that is so funny.
No, we're keeping it. We're keeping it.
We're keeping it. Yeah, let's keep it. Okay. We're going to talk about this. Lenny's meal is the human feed side. They do the grits and the cornmeal and stuff. The
biscuits.
Yeah, for them biscuits. Yeah, no gravy. No gravy.
That cornbread.
That cornbread.
Oh, the cornbread. Yes.
Give me that cornbread.
Yeah.
That cornbread.
Them pinto beans.
Got them grits. You gonna put in the plug.
Butter in them grits.
Yeah, Lenny's meal is the human part. Yeah, that's the little store over there on the right. Now the bigger part is Campbell's Feed and Fertilizer. That's my people. If you need your horses, your cows, your chickens, all that other, your dogs, all that fed, go to them.
But if you want that human grinding meal, that's terrible. That's so dark. It's so dark.
Yeah,
so
like
us.
yeah. And Campbell's Feed, they'll be the first ones to tell you. People will come up and say, "I want some deer corn." Did you know there's no such thing as deer corn? It's corn. It's just corn.
It's corn. A
It's just
big
corn.
lump of knobs. It has the juice. It has the juice. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's the most beautiful thing. It's corn.
It's corn.
Oh, another thing. Campbell's Feed and Fertilizer has some awesome merch. They've got shirts, they've got hoodies, and they've got some pretty nice hats go all up in there.
Jacob is all about them hats. We need to go take a trip.
Take you a trip. Go visit the TV Paul's Orchard. Make you another little round trip around there. We got stuff. We got a little bit of stuff to do. You know, if you want to play in the creek behind there and play in all the duck poop back there, I mean, it's whatever.
Fresh duck poop.
Fresh duck poop. But yeah, no, for real. If you want the cheapest feed in town, made on the backs of my family, go to Campbell's Feed and Fertilizer.
Made on the backs of my family.
They're working hard. They're not standing around just putting in an order for feed from somewhere else. They are the people that make the feed other people order. Look for the tag. Look
Buy
at any
local.
other feed mills.
Buy local. I'm all about buy local. I will pay a little extra for local.
Buy local. Snapping
Buy
the fingers. Buy local. Okay, so that's my plug. You got any local shout out?
I guess I gave mine with Lenny's meal.
You gave them the free one.
I gave them the human
Gave
side.
them the free. Gave them the human side. Gave them the human feed meal. Yeah, you want to pump up them horses? Go to Campbell's Feed.
Honey, don't eat that. That's for the horses.
Don't eat that sweet feed. Oh my gosh.
Talk him
Yes, honey.
confused.
Yes, honey. They've actually been sending, people have been donating them some money and they're doing it at cost and they're sending livestock feed to Western North Carolina.
Well, good.
So they're working on all that. But, random, but it made me think of this for some reason. I'm neurodivergent, so I have a weird thought process. So I'm not going to explain how I thought about this in relation to that, but I'm going to throw it out there. Pretty soon, you guys, we're going to have some promo photos.
Woo. That is right. That is right.
Yes, you're sitting there thinking. You're sitting there thinking, "Woo! I don't know what you're talking about." Oh yeah, that is right.
You got to remind me the date. You got to remind me the date.
Yes, I will. I'll hit you up with the date. Yes.
I think I put it in my calendar.
I think you did. You said, "Let me pencil you in, baby girl." I said, "Okay."
Because I've got to schedule pictures for me and the boys that I paid for in January.
There you go.
And I need to be doing that.
There you go. Yeah, I have.
Yes, I've got it in my calendar.
You got it. Okay.
I've got
it. She said I can sneak you in. We're gonna take the dumbest poses ever. So we're gonna do stupid pictures. They're gonna be stupid. They're gonna be stupid good. So we'll have some.
We'll have some
promos.
good. We'll have some good professional ones, but
but we're gonna be stupid too.
That's right.
We need the good ones. Yeah. Okay, guys. Other than that, we're gonna wrap up this episode. It's been good talking to you. But like I said at the beginning, we want to hear from you. We want to hear about your dumbest church experiences.
Give us all the details. Leave out the names.
Leave out the names of the church. We're not bashing a church.
We want to hear it all.
We want to hear it all, and we want to talk about it. We want to hear it all.
We want to know. Tell us.
Yeah, leave out the church name. Don't be bashing the pastors. Now, I'm a preacher's kid. No ma'ams and no sirs. We are not here to do that.
We don't do that.
But if you experience something that you thought was kind of weird, I still want to hear about it. I want to know the dirt.
Yeah, we want to know.
I want to know. Okay, so that's your homework. Do that. And like I said, you can submit it anonymously. And even if you don't, we won't read your name. It's fine. Okay.
Nope.
Other than that, you got anything else you need to throw in there?
I think we're good.
All right. It's been good talking to you.
It has.
We will see you again next time.
Stay tuned for more.
All right. Peace out, Girl Scouts.
See ya.